Beloved, heaven's clock is ticking. Only 8 minutes remain in this sacred window, and every second you hesitate gives the enemy more ground. Stay with me through every moment of this video, because the pivotal revelation that will shatter your chains and ignite your destiny waits in the final heartbeat. Don't drift away now. Keep your eyes fixed, your heart open, and watch to the very end, for what comes last is the key that unlocks all I've prepared for you. Click play and lean in, for this is the hour you cannot afford to miss. Right now, heaven itself has turned its gaze upon you, not with anger, but with hope, not with judgment, but with deep yearning. This moment isn't merely about your actions. It's about the decisions you make in the quiet places of your heart. The angels are not passive bystanders. They are leaning forward, eager to see whether this is the hour you yield entirely to my will. This is not a performance. This is your true purpose. My eyes have always been upon you, but today, my focus is more piercing than ever because something hidden is about to be uncovered. Your agreement with me is the last piece required to set it all in motion. This countdown is not intended to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you, to shake you free from the familiar comfort zones that have kept you circling in delay. Every second is drenched in meaning. I am not far. I stand before you now with open arms and a heart that has never stopped believing in your return. This final countdown is not my warning as a threat, but my calling as your shelter. These few moments have the power to reverse everything that has been delayed for years. Chains are shaking, destinies are quaking, but everything hinges on your yes. You are not waiting for heaven. Heaven is waiting for you. You are not overlooked. Heaven's spotlight is fixed on you in this instant. You sense a pull deep within your spirit. That is not anxiety, but my urgency. That is not fear, but the intersection of divine pressure and sacred timing. I wove this very moment into your story before time itself began, and now you are stepping into it. You are standing on the threshold between delay and deliverance, and I am the voice beckoning you forward. You have felt abandoned, forgotten, uncertain if your prayers ever reached me. Yet the truth is, I have prepared this very instant to show you that not one word you uttered was wasted. Not a single moment of your pain has been unseen. The weight you feel is not a punishment. It is the gravity of eternity bearing down on your decision. Time is not your adversary now. It is your signal. Time is not a curse, but your final nudge. You are not alone in the space where you sit or stand, wherever you may be reading or listening. Heaven itself has filled your atmosphere. You need not beg, I am already here, but I will not barge into your heart. I will knock with fire and whisper with thunder, but you must choose. You must open. You must respond. Because, child, this is your window. Not a threat, but a window. It is not one that will remain open forever. It requires that you trust my timing above your hesitation. 8 minutes may seem brief, but I can accomplish in seconds what years of your striving never could. I spoke the universe into existence. I can resurrect your entire story in this moment, if you surrender it. Heaven is not silent. It resounds with purpose. The angels are not idle. They stand ready for your breakthrough. And I, your Savior, am not waiting for perfection. I wait only for your willingness. What will you do with these 8 minutes that heaven has set apart for you? The stage is set. The gate stands open. The time is now. In this fleeting interval, all other voices must hush, for what is occurring now is not routine. This is the rearrangement of your destiny before your very eyes. You are exactly where eternity and your purpose intersect. The urgency pressing on your spirit is not random. It is deliberate, because your response in these next moments determines what is released, not only over you, but through you to everyone attached to your calling. Every distraction around you may try to steal your focus, But I need your attention now more than ever before. Every whisper of delay, fear, or logic attempting to explain away this moment is the enemy's last effort to rob you of what I have ordained. These remaining minutes are not for overthinking. They are for stepping out. No more doubting. No more waiting for a sign when I have already made my will clear. You have asked, when will it be my turn? I am telling you, not only is this your turn, it is your turning point. I did not awaken your heart just to leave you here. I am inviting you into a divine exchange that no force in hell can block if you move now. The gates are wider than ever, but they will not stay this way indefinitely. Do not be deceived. Opportunity in stillness often appears ordinary, but what unfolds now is anything but common. This is sacred, holy, and irreversible if missed. I have cleared the atmosphere to speak to you without interruption. Do not scroll away. Do not mentally check out. Remain anchored in my presence. Every distraction is targeted warfare meant to delay you just enough to miss what is being poured out. Child, I have not abandoned you. I have orchestrated everything for this pivotal moment. But I cannot choose for you. You want everything to make sense, but spiritual movement rarely waits for understanding. It waits for surrender. The windows of heaven are ready to pour, but the measure you receive depends on your posture of response. You are not just choosing obedience. You are deciding what will multiply in your life and what will disappear. I have been patient. I have whispered. I have waited as you wrestled silently. But now I speak with urgency, not because my love has changed, but because your window is narrowing. I am not in haste, but the season is changing and time is collapsing on indecision. What once required years can now occur in moments, if you respond to my nudge. The delay is not in me, it is in your hesitation. Will you believe me this time? Will you trust that what I am stirring within you is not a fantasy, but fulfillment in motion? Do not measure this divine moment by earthly clocks. This countdown is a spiritual release point where all that was once blocked can flow freely. If your heart aligns with my will, your choice affects more than you. It opens the way for others who await your obedience. That is why the pressure feels overwhelming. You hold keys for others, and your delay impacts more than your outcome. The cloud of witnesses is not passive. They champion your response, knowing what will be set in motion if you step into this moment. You have grown weary of waiting, but what if the waiting was never the issue? What if it was your response that has been held back? This moment will not return. What you sow in it will determine what harvest grows in the days ahead. I am not frightening you, I am stirring you. Because the instant you act in faith, all of heaven will surge on your behalf. This is not about being ready. It is about being real. No more practiced prayers. No more conditional yes. Just a heart wide open for my spirit to flood. The 8 minutes were never to panic you, but to bring you back into divine alignment. You have never been closer to your breakthrough. Do not allow fear to decide for you. Move now. Speak now. Choose now. I am still waiting. You have received countless invitations before, but what sets this one apart is not merely the urgency, but the eternal weight it carries in the unseen realm. This is where culmination meets correction. Everything that seemed scattered, delayed, or out of reach is now poised for completion. But it depends on your inner choice, not external conditions. You stand in a spiritual space where hesitation no longer serves you. Do not retreat into the familiar, for what I set before you now requires a courageous leap, not into darkness, but into the light I have always prepared. You seek clarity, yet I have spoken through silence, through closed doors, through pain you mistook for punishment. In truth, it was pruning, evidence of my nearness as I shaped you even when you couldn't feel it. Now, with only minutes left in this sacred portal, Understand this is not just a choice between good and bad. It is a decision between comfort and calling, and those two can never coexist. My invitation is not wrapped in comfort, but obedience. I am not asking for your strength, only your surrender. This instant is shaped like a holy funnel where every delay, every not yet, and every hidden answer converge with one act of faith from you. You do not need to fight for it, only to align with it. Your spirit knows this is not an ordinary time. That is why your heart races for reasons beyond understanding. That divine pull is not from the outside, it is me inside, awakening what I created you to be before the world made you forget. I did not bring you this close to tease you with what could have been. I brought you here to reclaim what was always yours. But I cannot force you to receive what requires your cooperation. The throne room vibrates with anticipation. Do you feel it? This is no accident. This is heaven's choreography. Prayers from years past are being set in motion. You now stand where you must choose, to remain in fear or to walk into fulfillment. No moment is wasted. Every second pulses with kingdom momentum. The delays were not denial. They were me holding back what you were not ready to carry. Now the preparation is complete. You are not waiting for qualification. You are already chosen. The enemy says you are unprepared. But readiness is not comfort, it is willingness. I do not seek perfection, but a heart turned wholly to me. No conditions, no reservations, no rehearsed expectations. Can you trust me with a blank page? Because I long to write the next chapter if you hand me the pen. What comes is weighty, yes, but it is glorious, and you were made to carry it. This is not a moment for public opinion, nor for analyzing outcomes. This is holy ground where logic bows to timing and fear yields to faith. What you do now will echo long after this moment passes. You are within a divine portal, where heaven is ready to release what no eye has seen or ear heard, but only if you say yes before the window closes. It will not stay open forever. That is not a threat, but truth. Before you hesitate, before you seek another sign, remember that every breath you take now is proof this moment was preserved for you. All of heaven leans in, not with condemnation, but with fierce love, awaiting your surrender. At this very instant, angelic hosts stand in quiet anticipation, not because they doubt you, but because they understand what's at stake and how heaven will move the moment your heart opens. You are not just making a spiritual choice. You are living a divine event ordained before your first breath. These angels have been assigned to you, sent from realms beyond your imagining. They now watch, not to judge, but with hopeful urgency, ready to record the moment you align with your destiny. They know what your step will activate. They have seen the blueprint of your life, the pages you have not yet read, marked with victory, authority, and legacy, and they await your step of faith. Do not underestimate how meaningful a single response can be. The atmosphere is heavy, not with fear, but with supernatural expectancy. All is prepared, held in suspension, waiting on your yes. Not a reluctant yes, not a hesitant compromise, but the kind that says, I refuse to belong to delay. The kind that tells the darkness, you have no claim here. You may feel surrounded by silence, but it is sacred silence. It is the hush before the trumpet sounds in the spirit. This is more than a message. It is a moment where heaven decides what is released through your lineage, what cycles end, and what generational burdens crumble. The angelic witnesses do not blink, for this is the intersection of decision and destiny, and they are recording not your feelings, but your faith. They do not respond to emotion, but to your rising authority. Do you realize how long heaven has waited for this junction? Do you understand how many battles you survived to reach this point in your story? This is not merely a turning point. It is where promise ignites into power. The heaviness you feel is proof of its magnitude. If it were trivial, the enemy would not try so hard to distract you. But it is not small. It is monumental. It is life-altering. It is the hinge upon which the doors to your future swing. You are not observed for condemnation, but because what you carry is rare. What you do now will reverberate through unseen realms. Angels move not at the sound of fear, but when surrender meets obedience. They move when your yes is pure, when your spirit ceases to wrestle and starts to respond. You cannot purchase this moment or manufacture it. It was authored, reserved, and delivered as a holy opportunity, your name written upon it in fire. The winds are shifting, and if you listen, you will sense the movement, not in the natural, but in the realm where destinies are forged. Heaven does not wait as humans do. It waits with power, pent up like a dam behind your faith. And now, the dam is trembling. Breakthrough is pressing. Angels are leaning forward, and your hesitation is the last wall before the flood of glory. This is your Elijah moment on Mount Carmel, where fire falls not by volume but by belief. This is your midnight cry, where breakthrough responds to obedience. Will you let me lift the weight you have carried too long? Will you let me disrupt your survival and replace it with the melody of my purpose? This is the moment, child. Not because the clock dictates, but because heaven is watching, waiting, and whispering, now. This is not just the climax of your story. It is the beginning of divine unveiling. All that was hidden, misunderstood, or deferred is now coming to light. The heavens have timed this minute for a clarity you did not know you needed. I reveal not to intimidate, but to show that what is about to begin can no longer stay concealed. The weight in your chest, the sense of something closing in, is not danger, but revelation. This is not just your awakening, it is heaven's unveiling. You are not the only observer. The realms beyond time are peering into this divine pause, and it is not idle silence, but the stillness before the veil is torn and the locked places are revealed. I am ready to reveal what your heart has longed to know, but first I require your unqualified yes. I do not show destiny to those who chase comfort, but to those ready to bear weight, to walk through fire and still say, I will follow. That is why you feel pressure now, because something hidden is about to break open. You have prayed for a shift. Now I show you. You are the shift. What has circled your life, waiting to descend, will now land, but only on surrendered ground. It is not about effort, but alignment. You are seconds from stepping into irreversible clarity. The fog that has surrounded you was not because I was distant, but because I needed to slow your steps until you could fully receive what I am prepared to show you. Every silent victory, every tear, every moment you chose faith, I counted them all. I stored them. Now I am unlocking what they prepared you for. What felt like silence was sacred. What felt like abandonment was space for revelation. You have seen glimpses of my plan. What is next is not a glimpse. It is a window. When I open it, nothing will look the same. Your relationships, your purpose, your path. But I open only what you are willing to step through. This is not the time for hesitation. This is the moment of movement, the second to leave behind all that has kept you stuck. You need not understand all. I ask only for trust, because what I show you next will change everything. The veil between confusion and clarity is being torn, not by your intellect, but by your surrender. Heaven is not just watching, they are ready to partner with your decision. The angels who have waited in silence are now in formation, awaiting my word to reveal it. When I do, doors you thought shut will swing open. You will not exit this moment unchanged. You will not return to old rhythms. For what I unveil will require new capacity. That is why the pressure has been so intense. It was stretching, not punishment. I was expanding you for what I always intended. Do not resist. Do not turn back when you are seconds from seeing why it had to be this way. The storm was never meant to destroy you, but to clear the skies for revelation. Now I am ready to show you everything. Just say yes loudly enough for even your doubt to hear it break. The seconds are not slipping away, they are intensifying. Every breath now echoes with urgency. The clock does not tick to end you, but to bring you to the moment where heaven demands a response that separates watchers from movers, listeners from responders, and those almost ready from the fully yielded. This is not about being late, but about your choice at the intersection of divine invitation and time. You have asked for guidance. Now I show you. It was never withheld. It was your movement that was missing. You have sat on the edge of breakthrough, staring across the valley of fear, waiting for certainty before leaping. But, beloved, I never called you to wait for feeling. I called you to heed my voice. My voice is here, clear and pressing into your very being like unquenchable fire. You claim uncertainty, but deep within you know. You have tried to muffle truth with logic, with reasons, with a desire to delay just long enough to stay comfortable. But I am not building comfort. I am calling forth courage. These final moments are not to paralyze you. They are meant to ignite a faith that shakes even your doubts. Now, I do not ask you to be fearless. I ask you to move while trembling. That step may be invisible to others, but in the spirit, it thunders. Obedience in uncertainty releases a sound that commands angelic movement. Do not be fooled by silence. There is movement in the atmosphere. Your obedience is unlocking alignments unseen, opening channels once blocked by hesitation, shifting your atmosphere from delay to acceleration. This time is sacred. That is why you feel mounting pressure. It is not stress, but a holy push. I do not seek perfection. I seek participation. Not a flawless leap, but a surrendered one. You fear losing control, but control has been the very chain holding you back. Lay it down. Relinquish your plans. Stop managing what I never asked you to fix. Let me take the place I have long knocked upon. You have built walls to protect, but now they are cages, and your destiny cannot thrive in confinement. I offer freedom, not familiarity. I offer authority, not excuses. In this window, there is no middle ground, only obedience or obstruction. The time for maybe is over. The moment for partial surrender has passed. This now determines your next. I have waited long enough. Have you not waited long enough? This countdown is not pressure, it is grace. It is the final open space to cross the threshold without regret. If you delay, what could have been immediate may require a new cycle. I do not wish that for you. That is why I speak with fire and mercy. I have held back blessings until now because you were not ready, but now you are. I see it in your struggles, in your tears, in your weariness from burdens never meant to be permanent. I do not come to demand but to fulfill a promise, but I need your full, free yes. Not for applause, not for results, but because you trust me more than your own timing, because you finally see I am the safest place for your surrender. So now, release it. Your plans, your grip, your ideas of how things should unfold. I have written better, but I will not force my hand past your will. Open the door, child. I am still waiting. Time is narrowing, but heaven is watching, waiting for the words your spirit longs to declare. I'm ready. Every second now carries a divine weight, not because time itself holds power, but because my presence has infused this moment with holy urgency. I have not set this countdown to trap you, but to deliver you. You may not see it yet, but you are on the fault line between all you have known and what is now possible. This space is fragile, not because you are weak, but because the resistance is thin. With one breath of surrender, it will collapse. The open gate before you was not built by effort, but carved by intercession, by my mercy, and by the yeses of those who went before you. praying for you without your knowledge. You stand at the edge of inheritance. This is more than breakthrough. It is transfer. I have stored what is yours. I have guarded what the enemy tried to mislabel. Now I am unlocking the storehouses. But your voice must match faith's sound. You cannot whisper breakthrough while holding on to doubt. You cannot tiptoe into destiny while clinging to fear. This is the moment for full presence, focus, and participation. You do not need to know what comes after you say yes. That is my responsibility. But you must say it. You must declare with everything in you that you will no longer be a bystander in your own story. You have spent too long studying the calling, memorizing instructions. Now is the time to walk into what you were already prepared for. I have given you dreams, but without decisions, they become burdens. I have shown you glimpses, but without action, they become torment. This is not about worth. You were worthy the moment I chose you. This is about willingness to step into what was written with your name before fear taught you to shrink. The atmosphere is no longer silent. It crackles with energy. Your surrender is not only heard but felt. Creation groans not for your hesitation, but for your agreement. You were not born to survive another cycle. You were born to break it. Your yes breaks chains, not only over you, but over every soul connected to your obedience. This is generational, structural, foundational. It starts with your answer in these final moments of divine alignment. You may believe this is too big, too sudden, too risky, but I do not place opportunity according to your comfort, but on the axis of divine timing. And this right now is that axis. You have feared the unknown, but I have gone ahead, cleared the way, positioned every resource you need. Just walk. I will not give you the whole picture. It would overwhelm you. I give only the next step. When you take it, the next will appear. That is the way of faith. It builds as you move. These next seconds hold more possibility than the last decade, but only if you move. Only if you silence excuses and the inner critic. My voice must be louder than your fear, my truth stronger than your resistance. Do not wait for the pressure to ease. It intensifies until you obey. The pressure is not punishment, but proof that heaven presses in to ensure you do not miss this door. My voice is wrapped in love but filled with fire. I will not let you drift past the moment that could change everything. This is no soft invitation. It is a command clothed in compassion. You do not need to guess. You are summoned to act. Time is thin. The veil is tearing. The room is shifting. Heaven holds its breath, not in doubt, but in hope. Because, child, the next move is yours. Everything I have prepared awaits your choice in the coming heartbeat. You asked for a sign. This moment is louder than any you have known. As natural distractions fade and the noise of the world grows quiet, my voice slices through, unshakable and undeniable. You do not need more confirmation. This is your signal, a fire in the darkness, not to instill fear, but to draw you into the light you hesitate to enter. You waited for the dramatic, but I speak through clarity. I speak through a divine pressure that cannot be ignored. This message is not late. It comes at the precise moment your heart is ready. Every step until now has led to this holy interruption. This fracture in time separates hesitation from action. Heaven is not passively watching. It responds to what you do now. I have sent messengers to stir your spirit, signs to catch your eye, nudges for your heart. But now, I speak directly because what is coming requires full awareness and obedience. You have cried out for a moment like this. You pleaded for me to appear, and here I stand, not in silence, but with a roar disguised as a whisper. This is more than emotion. It is encounter. It is the answer to what you thought I forgot. I forget nothing. I delay nothing out of neglect. All I held back was because the time had not come. Until now. There is something sacred about divine timing. It is not convenient, but it is precise. This is that moment. I am not here to persuade you. I am awakening you. What you feel in your chest is not confusion, but collision. My spirit confronts the things in you that posed as peace, but were only avoidance. The pressure is not external. It is the breaking of what cannot enter your next chapter. I clear the air so you can breathe free. Decide, will you treat this moment as just another stirring, or as a divine appointment? For this is not a feeling, it is an encounter with instructions. Heaven waits to respond, but cannot move where you refuse to yield. I am not asking you to fix yourself. I ask you to come as you are, to stop waiting for the perfect version, and simply say yes in your present state. I do not seek polish, I seek permission. The gates of access tremble, but remain closed to pride, delay, and indecision. Choose now, with all your heart. Ready is not a feeling, it is a decision. Even if not everything is clear, you know that I am. In this sacred moment, I offer no delay, but deliverance, freedom from fear, from years of inner struggle. I offer you rest on the far side of surrender, but you must step, speak, and move, not next week, not tomorrow, now. This is the hour when heaven bends low, seeking those who will respond, not with religion, but with unfiltered trust. Child, I did not lead you here to tease you with possibility, but because something is unlocking, something irreversible. Your yes is the last key. Do not underestimate this. This is not ordinary. You are not unseen. I see you. So does all of heaven. Now speak the yes that trembles inside and watch everything shift. You think you are not ready, that someone stronger should carry this. But the preparation is already complete. It is not in your schedule, but in your surrender. The moment you yield fully, you will feel the dormant power activate, not absent, only waiting. I never chose you for your perfection. I chose you because you are chosen. Chosen ones need not seek approval. They need only agreement. Do not prove yourself. Present yourself. Stop searching for outward evidence of readiness. Your obedience is the proof I seek. My anointing rests not on pride or striving, but on humility that says, use me, even if I feel unqualified. In this fleeting moment, I am looking not for ability, but for availability. Can I move through you without you questioning each step? Can I pour through your life without you filtering it through fear? I do not want a polished script. I want your raw yes. Be nothing but fully yielded now. Lay down every mental battle, whether you are enough, whether you'll make a mistake, whether you heard me. They are distractions disguised as responsibility. They masquerade as caution, but are resistance cloaked in religion. I am not looking for your perfect timing. I am releasing mine. This window is not an accident, but a divine interruption. Everything was slowed, shifted, shaken so you would arrive here, attentive not only in body, but in spirit. I knew it would take this urgency to awaken you from routine. I knew you would need intensity to break the pattern of someday. So I allowed the silence, confusion, frustration, not as punishment, but as preparation. Every battle you faced for survival was about positioning. Now you stand in the center of divine possibility, and only one thing remains: your surrender. You are not asked to know how it all works, just to move despite not knowing. That is where true faith lives, in the space between your vision and my limitless plan. The enemy whispers that this moment is too large, too sudden, too risky. But the real danger is delay, the slow erosion of destiny by excuses, the gradual death of purpose through pleasing others. You were not made for that. You were built to respond when my voice thunders, as it does now. You can no longer pretend not to hear, not with heaven wide open and angels watching. Move, not from fear, but from reverence. Step out from observation and into the vessel I designed you to be. I need only an opening, that crack in your will for my spirit to rush in. Your weakness is actually access. You need not carry this alone. I will carry you into places you never dreamed. Do not wait for others. I did not call the crowd, I called you. Heaven does not watch to count mistakes, it watches to confirm agreement. This is no longer about your feelings, but what you release. So open your spirit and declare yes, not because you are fearless, but because you trust the one who never fails. Do not underestimate this minute. It is not time passing, but revelation unfolding. It is a mirror revealing what you truly believe in stillness. The mirror does not condemn or flatter, it reflects. And now it reveals not failure, but potential buried under hesitation and overthinking. I show you this not to shame you, but to awaken you. Beneath delay and excuse is the fire I placed in you. That fire was never extinguished, just smothered by the fear of making a wrong move. But this is not about perfection, but intention. I am not watching to be impressed. I watch to see if you trust me above your comfort. I have never needed perfection, just willingness. This slice of eternity has more power than 1,000 empty resolutions. What you choose now will echo louder than words. Your heart is speaking, trembling, yet leaning toward me. Do not flee the stillness. Remain. Let it unravel the lies. Tear down the scaffolding of appearances. I am not in the image, I am in intimacy. In the mirror, see not disqualification, but someone on the edge of sacred release. I have called you not just to make a choice, but to become my dwelling place. Your yes is not for an assignment, but for an encounter. I am calling you deeper, not just to serve, but to know me. I will not compete with distractions. My voice is clearest in surrendered silence. In this moment, there is no stage, just you and me. Here is where powerful decisions are born. Not rushed, not frantic, but in still surrender. I seek a surrendered heart, not mere agreement, but availability. I am not waiting for you to have it all together, but for you to let go of the version trying to earn what I already gave. Grace is not an idea, it is a person. And I am here, holding the mirror, asking, will you finally see what I see? Stop disqualifying yourself. This is your turning point. Not earned, but finally recognized. The time is short, but my love is limitless. The shift begins not when your world changes, but when you believe what I've always spoken. Right now, I ask for your gaze, your focus. Let me be louder than your inner battles. You need not understand all, just yield to the one who does. Do not walk away unchanged. Let this moment mark you, seal you, remind you who you've always been. Chosen, seen, called for this hour. I am not here to frighten, but to intercept what would quietly form without your awareness. The darkness has studied you, waited for your fatigue, whispered compromise disguised as comfort. But I am breaking that pattern. This is not about wrath, but mercy arriving before what would steal your clarity. If you delay, what was avoidable becomes consequence. Not because I am far, but because I am fiercely present. I show you what's ahead so you do not walk blind into what you are meant to overcome. Truth erodes when you choose delay over direction. That is what I save you from. The trap is not loud. It is built on quiet decisions to ignore my voice when inconvenient. Right now, you are not just at a threshold, but in front of a spiritual ambush disguised as harmless, set to derail your momentum. I will not let you go unaware. I speak now with urgency because I love you more than comfort. This is not pressure, it is protection. I do not scare you into obedience. I love you into clarity. The enemy offers distractions dressed as good intentions, hoping you'll trade purpose for ease. But I placed a fire in you, one that cannot be quenched by temporary loss. That fire is rising, and I fan it so you will see through deception. The danger is not always destruction. It is comfort that lulls you to spiritual sleep. You are made not to coast, but to confront. I now place my hand on your shoulder and whisper what few will hear. Wake up, not because you failed, but because you are still early enough to choose the higher path before the lower one binds you. This is not only about your future, but the innocence of those behind you. Your decision now writes chapters for generations you will never meet. That is why the urgency is so real. I do not speak to condemn, but to preserve. My voice does not shame, it shakes. It shakes false foundations, agreements with doubt, fears disguised as your own thoughts. I shake not to destroy, but to wake you before they become reality. Do not dismiss this as another emotional moment. This is a divine alert. I flash red lights across your spirit, not to trap, but to redirect you before the turn becomes hard to reverse. I will not let you wander into danger just because you grew used to silence. This is not silence. This is my voice, calling while the window remains open. There is still time, but not forever. You still have access, but not without response. I give not just instruction, but insight. I show what can be stopped if you choose me, fully, immediately. Heaven still leans in. Angels still wait. Your surrender this moment causes a chain of deliverance, one you'll thank me for, even for what you never saw coming. Do not let this next minute pass unheeded. You have heard me. Now follow. An unseen war now rages beyond your senses. The battlefield is your will. What you choose now holds more consequence than you know. This is not about plans or preferences, but dominion. The unseen is roaring, for your next step is not neutral. It tips the balance. Light and darkness are not passive. They contend for your agreement. Your yes has power to shift territories. The enemy has no authority but what you grant through passivity or delay. That's why you feel torn. That's why peace is just out of reach. Because more than a decision, this is a decree. Surrender is not just movement forward, it is the activation of authority that shatters the enemy's plans. What would have entangled you is trembling, because your yes seals its defeat. Your awareness matters because your yes is legislative in the spirit. It signs verdicts, cancels accusations, and releases what warfare tried to block. I have given you keys to bind and loose, to close what the enemy disguised as opportunity. Undecided, you allow unauthorized access. This is more than resisting evil. It is reclaiming what is yours. I call you to govern in the spirit. You are not fragile. You are a warrior. Your spirit was born for battle, and obedience is your greatest weapon. The resistance is greater now because the enemy knows your movement will dismantle his works. I have assigned angels not because you are weak, but because this is an appointed clash requiring backup. They are here to respond to your obedience. When you move, heaven moves with you. They cannot war where you refuse to stand. I call your voice into action, not only your mouth, but your spirit's roar. You have been silenced by discouragement too long. You whispered when you were meant to decree. You waited for peace, but were called to speak it. Now I reignite fire in your voice. Declare what I have shown, even if your hands shake. Your words in alignment with my spirit dismantle resistance. This is divine strategy. I lift the veil so you see more is happening than you feel. This is not about sight, but about what you sense deep inside. The unrest is not confusion, but heaven summoning your authority. You are more than a survivor. You are a gatekeeper, a warrior, a vessel of justice. The enemy does not fear your potential. He fears your surrender. Once you yield, nothing he planned can stand. His hope is that you will treat this as trivial, that you will wait again, that silence is safe. But this is the hour of shifting from victim to vessel, from wondering to wielding. Respond not just with emotion, but boldness. You carry an authority greater than you've known, and I am calling it out now. You do not need confirmation, you need courage. I pour it into you now. What waits beyond your yes is far greater than the fear holding you back. Say it, move, engage. Heaven is watching, waiting for your surrender. My spirit has gone ahead, not to warn of disaster, but to prepare the soil for something to take root quickly. That stirring deep within is not confusion, but confirmation. What I planted in secret is about to emerge. A hidden work has been unfolding beneath layers of pain and silence. Not abandonment, but cultivation. I was never ignoring you, I was forming you. In silence, I shaped strength. In delay, I carved endurance. In closed doors, I built character. Now my spirit, who has quietly tilled your surrender, moves swiftly to release what has matured in darkness. I told you nothing was wasted. Now you will see the seeds of every private prayer, every tear you refuse to let alter your faith. These have been watered, and the rain has come. The atmosphere shifts. The ground breaks. Breakthrough may not explode, it may stretch. What you feel now, the tension, the ache, the sense of a great movement, is not panic, but spiritual expansion. My spirit stretches you for your next season. What once fit will no longer. Relationships, roles, routines will feel tight. Do not see this discomfort as a stop sign. It is proof you enter holy ground. My spirit does not come with chaos, but conviction. He unsettles what cannot remain, shakes the fragile, strengthens the true. That is what happens now. I am not here to maintain what you built, but to breathe on what I planted. When I breathe, nothing stays the same. Winds of clarity will sweep the places of confusion. Heavenly strategies will download, not because you earned them, but because obedience unlocked them. You have entered a zone of accelerated progress. What once took years will now happen in days. Not because timing changed, but because your posture did. You no longer stand at the door, you are invited in. But such access requires a yielded life. I cannot pour into vessels that resist. You must remain soft clay, not hardened by pain or disappointment. Let my spirit keep shaping you even as I launch you. As you move forward, do not try to control outcomes. Follow the oil. Follow peace. With clarity, not comfort. My spirit leads not with demands, but with quiet power. Do not look for me to repeat the patterns of the past. I am doing something new, something tailored to your calling alone. That is why another's map will not suit you. Why no blueprint fits but your own. You were never called to mimic models. You were summoned to follow me. Even now, I move ahead of you with a gaze burning with intention and a plan formed in wisdom. What the adversary once delayed has already begun to unfold. You are not struggling to catch up. You are being launched forward. You are not running behind. You are arriving at the hour I have set. And as my spirit lays the foundation for what comes next, be assured of this. You are not pressed for time. You are being released at the perfect moment. Do not fight against this flow. Do not try to pick it apart. Remain surrendered. Remain prepared. Stay near. For what starts now will not lose its momentum. The one who formed you in the quiet places is now bringing every hidden thing into the light. Not to expose, but to fulfill every promise. If your heart races and your thoughts seem to crash like waves, do not flee from that intensity. That is the sound of my voice summoning you into deeper clarity. I have removed every veil and swept aside every distraction because I desire your undivided focus. This is not discomfort for its own sake. It is the clash of new revelation with old resistance. You do not feel overwhelmed because you are lost. The heaviness you sense is the weight of truth breaking through every layer of delay, every disappointment, every doubt you have carried. This is not a breaking that destroys, but a breaking that clears the space. I do not bring you into confusion. I am calling you to breakthrough. The pressure you feel is not the enemy. It is the final tension before release. My spirit draws near, nearer than you realize. I have waited for this very instant to impart what your mind could not grasp. The tension is the evidence of my order confronting every lie you have entertained. Now I am casting out those voices. I do not require their consent. I am reclaiming what is rightfully mine. You are mine, and every voice that contradicts that truth is being silenced now. You have listened long enough to fear disguised as logic and settled for limitations masquerading as wisdom. Now I am overturning those tables. I am purifying your innermost being just as I cleanse the temple. Only what is authentic, lasting, and eternal may remain. This is not collapse, it is purification. And from this cleansing you will find clarity. Soon I will reveal what has long been hidden, not from you, but for you. You were not ready before, but now you are. The hardship you have endured did not harden you. It has softened you in the right ways. The walls you once built for protection have grown thin. Your heart, once closed and wary, is now open and perceptive. That is why this moment feels so weighty. Your spirit discerns what your emotions are still learning to accept. I am imparting wisdom to you, not as simple answers, but as understanding. You will begin to see people anew. Situations that once puzzled you will soon make sense. The decisions that tormented you will lose their hold, and peace will flood the places where anxiety once made its home. I am not merely responding to your questions. I am unveiling a new way of seeing. I am shifting your perspective so profoundly that your question will no longer be, "Why did this happen?" but rather, "Now I understand." For understanding is power, and with that power you will move, speak, and live differently. No more doubting yourself. No more apologizing for your fire. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. I am calling you to stand fully in the stature I designed for you. Not the self you tried to construct, but the one I fashioned in secret and now call into the light. Your walk will change. I am giving you a new rhythm, a divine pace, not driven by fear or comparison, but steady with my heartbeat. I am teaching you to listen with your spirit, to follow the gentle pull of my presence rather than the clamor of the world around you. This is not hype, it is holy. This is not adrenaline, it is alignment. You are not entering chaos, but clarity. That is why you feel everything pressing in at once. My spirit is finalizing the separation between what was and what is being born. Allow the pressure to do its work. Let the weight expand you. You are not breaking down. You are opening up. Open to bear what others dismissed. Open to steward what others let go. Open to hear what others ignored. This is why I chose you. Not because you had it all together, but because when my presence drew near, you did not run. You leaned in, and now I pour into that leaning. So take another breath. Remain in the refining fire a moment longer. Heaven is still attentive. I am still here, shaping, revealing, and readying you for what is about to come. You may not yet see it, but all around you, everything is shifting in response to my presence. Even the atmosphere that once pressed down on you is beginning to change. You have entered a moment charged with significance in the spiritual realm. Creation is waiting, holding its breath for your next move. The wind may seem still in the natural, but in the spirit, a great wind is rising behind your willingness. The air is heavy with the promise of release, the kind that only comes when the soul yields without reservation. You have come through much, and not a single cry has been overlooked. I witnessed every silent battle, every night spent wrestling with thoughts that threatened your faith. Know this, those battles were not losses, they were altars, places where I drew close, collecting your prayers like precious incense, waiting for the day I would ignite them. That day is now. What is burning away is not your hope, but every force that tried to smother it. What is being consumed is not your future, but every lie that whispered it would never come. This fire is not for destruction, but for purification. What emerges from these flames will not be fragile. It will be unbreakable and enduring. I am not giving you a fleeting reprieve. I am granting you permanence. A shift that will not vanish by morning, a change that will not unravel under trial. You are not here for a brief spiritual high, but to receive an unshakable mantle. That is why this moment pulses with life. You have walked through enough to qualify for a moment like this. You persisted when giving up would have been easier. You stayed when escape seemed tempting. You waited when all appeared stagnant. But I was working. I was shaping you, not to make you more acceptable, but because you were already beloved. I was preparing you to carry what others let drop, to build what others abandoned, to speak what others silenced. You carry a flame that has survived every storm. That flame is mine, and now I am breathing upon it, transforming it into a wildfire of awakening. This is not only for your breakthrough, it is for all who are connected to your obedience. There are souls watching you, unaware that your yes will release their freedom. That is why this moment is so crucial. It is not just about feeling good in the now. It is about what endures after your act of obedience. I am positioning you not for applause, but for impact. I will not let this mantle slip from your shoulders. I chose you for your persistence, not your perfection. You continued even with tears in your eyes. You remained present when the atmosphere was barren. This is why I honor consistency amid chaos. Now I reward you, not with what is temporary, but with what is eternal. Authority, influence, wisdom, a sensitivity to my voice, discernment beyond manipulation, favor beyond explanation. I am clothing you in what only heaven can bestow, not because you demanded it, but because you trusted me when understanding was absent. That trust has been your offering, and I have accepted it. Now prepare yourself, for what comes next surpasses your boldest dreams. Doors will open, not by your efforts, but by my command. People will find you, not because of your platform, but because of my placement. You do not need to promote yourself. I will speak your name in places you have never set foot. I will send the right companions and remove those who cannot journey with you into the next season. Do not mourn what departs. I am orchestrating every connection, every opening, every change. This is the threshold. Now that you have entered with a willing heart, I will complete what I began. Keep moving forward. Do not look back. Heaven is watching, and a new wave is forming. In this instant, you stand between what once depleted you and what is about to elevate you. Know that I am not waiting at the finish line. I am with you through every struggle, every unseen barrier, every moment you felt invisible in your obedience. You sought change, but now I show you. The shift starts within. This is more than a choice, it is a divine separation. I draw a line, not in condemnation, but in mercy, dividing what once confined you from what will now set you apart. You are not merely entering a new season, you are stepping into a deeper revelation of your identity in me. This is why the intensity has been so high, why the weight has been so great. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. Now is when I reveal the strength within you, beneath layers of doubt and disappointment. You have borne power others never saw because you survived in silence. I saw and honored it. Now I ignite it. You have not missed your moment. You have been shaped for this one. I allowed some things to fall away, not to harm you, but to reveal what can no longer remain attached to your journey. Detours were for your preservation, not denial. Delays were for redirection, not rejection. Even the silence was not neglect, but my strategy to deepen you where you wanted answers. You wanted an exit. I built endurance. You prayed for peace. I grew perseverance. What you carry now is rare, and common solutions will no longer suffice. You are called to operate in a new realm, not reacting to noise, but responding to my whisper. Not waiting for ideal circumstances, but moving as my spirit leads. You are no longer pulled by situations, but led by conviction. You are not fragile, you are focused. I am removing anything that dulls your discernment, so you can hear me as never before. This next phase demands clarity you have never known, and I am providing it, not in loud proclamations, but in gentle shifts. Watch as draining conversations are exposed, depleting patterns are interrupted, and clouded atmospheres are cleared. You are not being ignored, you are being set apart. This is not isolation, but divine protection of what is being birthed in you. If you feel stripped, know you are being aligned. Every unnecessary weight is falling away so you can move swiftly. You will no longer carry burdens I never assigned you. I am reclaiming your heart from fear, guilt, and people-pleasing. I want every part, not for control, but for complete freedom. The era of partial obedience is over. I am making space, preparing to pour out what no eye has seen, no ear has heard. I waste nothing. I pour where there is room in you. I am showing you. Watch as I overturn every word spoken to diminish you. See how I restore what you thought was lost forever. Witness how I redeem the chapters once marked by shame and turn them into testimonies others cling to in darkness. I have kept record not of your failures, but of your faith, and heaven's record differs from man's. Where others measured progress by sight, I measured surrender by what you gave me in silence. Every act of submission was a seed. Now the harvest has come. This is no end to hardship. It is the unveiling of divine justice. And justice in my kingdom means restoration with interest. Everything you thought lost will return multiplied. Every opportunity you missed will reappear, this time with your name inscribed in gold. You will not have to fight for it. You will not need to explain yourself or compete. What I release over you is tailor-made and unique. So stop comparing yourself to others. Stop measuring your worth by their timelines. Your journey is specific. Your release is too. I call you out of comparison, delay, and fear into full possession of promises, authority, and territory assigned to your name. You are no longer waiting. You step boldly, unapologetically. I have gone before you. The places you feared are subdued. What once intimidated you is now underfoot. I have given you dominion, not just over circumstances, but over every lie that sought to define you. This is more than a turning point. It is a moment heaven marks as fulfillment. While the world sleeps through my secret workings, you have awakened just in time to witness the unveiling. Keep your eyes open, your heart ready, and your spirit alert. What I begin now, no one, no force, no system can stop. I have spoken, and now I will perform it. The enemy tries to convince you this moment is insignificant, fleeting, or easily forgotten. But I tell you with certainty, what unfolds now is eternal in consequence. You stepped into a divine chamber where everything around you shifts in response to your heart's posture. Do not mistake stillness for inactivity, nor peace for passivity. The unseen realm is alive with divine orchestration. The impossible is rearranged. You need no public announcement. Your agreement is the key unlocking sacred doors. I do not seek to impress, I am commissioning. The weight you feel is prophetic alignment. What once seemed random is now a divine tapestry. I see design where you see knots. I see seeds where you see endings. Now what was buried breaks through, not by your strength, but by your surrender. You released what others clung to. That is why I build legacy through your life, not mere moments. This is not elevation, but establishment. You are rooted, not in position, but in purpose. From that place, I will raise you above every weapon formed to silence what I planted in you. You endured attacks not because of weakness, but because you threatened darkness. You questioned your worth amid battle, but I never questioned you. I was training you to recognize the battlefield, not to fear it. That you stand now, not barely but boldly, is proof your spirit was refined, not defeated. Refined one, hear me. I breathe life into what you thought was paused. I awaken dreams shelved, not to tease but to fulfill through you. I never forgot what I said. I never abandoned what I began. At this divine convergence, where surrender meets strategy, I accelerate what once moved slowly. No more circles, no more detours, a straight path forward. I grant clarity to cut through confusion like a blade. You will not guess where to step or who belongs. I will make it unmistakably clear. My voice becomes clear, not louder, but because you are finally still enough to hear it. That stillness is preparation, not inactivity. You will receive precise instructions, where to place your feet, steward your time, when to speak, when to be silent. I do not just restore your authority, I sharpen it. What felt dull becomes sharp. You will move with purpose and not waste your strength. Nothing you endured will be wasted. Every scar is a door, every tear is a map, every battle a scroll heaven reads as the testimony of your faith. What I unveil will exceed your expectations, but demands unwavering alignment. No mixing, no compromise, no pretense. The time for blending is over. I set you apart, not to isolate, but to illuminate. What comes through your life will cause others to ask how. The answer will never be your name, but mine. Heaven watches not to test, but to witness your yes turn to glory. Keep walking. You have crossed over. My beloved, you have reached a place where your response outpowers your reasoning. You have analyzed, weighed, questioned. Now I call you to step beyond understanding into total trust. This is no longer about logic, it is about alignment. You have gathered enough data and opinions. Revelation was never meant to submit to reasoning. It is time to move from investigation to activation. I do not ask you to know all. I ask you to follow me into what only faith fulfills. The next move will not be validated by comfort but by obedience. I have paved the way, but cannot move your feet. You stand on the edge, dividing the known from the divine. The invitation is not to play safe, but to step where only surrender can carry you. I withhold nothing. I wait only for your full agreement. What I release cannot coexist with indecision. Partial obedience cannot unlock what I have prepared. This is no season for half measures. It is a moment of complete yielding. I have been patient, waiting as you wrestled, but heaven is ready. The scrolls are open. The final key is in your hand. Your yes without hesitation. The enemy seeks to confuse you, saying your voice is small, your obedience insignificant. But all hinges on this moment. Your yes can shift atmospheres, release unseen captives, awaken gifts for generations yet to come. This is more than a breakthrough. It is a generational turning point. That is why pressure mounts and silence suffocates. You are drawn here where heaven stands ready, not with folded arms, but open doors. One step, one decision, that breaks the chains. Not because I was unwilling, but because you hesitated. But you hesitate no more. That trembling is not fear, but recognition. Your spirit knows this is holy ground. It knows what lies beyond surrender. The tension is not a warning. It is an invitation to move beyond what you have outgrown. You were not made to circle questions endlessly. You were designed to advance, occupy, and release heaven's sound on earth. The earth waits for that sound to rise, a sound not of panic but of purpose, a declaration of no more delay. You have been marked for more. Now move accordingly. You have been equipped even where you thought empty. I have deposited power in your hidden wounds. I bring that power to the surface, not to expose, but to expand you. The you stepping forward is not the you who barely survived before. I give you fresh strength, not borrowed, not rehearsed, but fire unquenchable, fire unshaken by pressure or opposition. You will not return to the old self. The door has closed, the shadows have lifted, the weight that buried you has been broken. I do not revive what was, I release what never existed. This is new territory, and your name is written on it. I call you by the name I gave before time, victorious, chosen, sent. As I speak it, every battle you endured becomes the fuel that propels you. Do not hesitate. Do not retreat. This moment is too precise to step now. Heaven watches. Your obedience remains the signal. If you knew what I withheld to protect you, what I blocked that would have broken you, you would no longer question silence. You would worship the unseen battles I fought for you. I protected you not for what you earned, but because you carry something sacred. You cannot imagine the traps set and dismantled, the ambushes averted. I stood between you and destruction, not because you were perfect, but because I made a covenant with your destiny. That covenant is unbreakable. Not even doubt can cancel it. Not even weariness delay it forever. Yes, you stumbled. Yes, you nearly walked away, but you did not. That is why you stand now at the edge of this holy transition. Ahead is not just provision, but preservation. I give you assurance, not just access. You will not look back or doubt if the ground holds. I am your foundation, sealing what I began. What once felt fragile will now be fortified. You will not just cross over, you will stand strong. I trained your roots in secret so you would not fall when the fruit appears. What I release now would have crushed the old you, but you are new, transformed by surrender, not external success. You no longer seek applause but alignment, not ambition but assignment. That is how I know you are ready, not because you have arrived, but because you have been emptied. Emptied of the need to prove, obsessed with timing, pressured to perform. In that empty space, I fill you, not with noise, but clarity. I do not send you out confused, but with strategy. Not from books, but from the secret place. You will know where to step, whom to trust, what to say. You will no longer move by impulse, but by instruction. I stripped you to stillness so you can hear heaven's pace. Now that your ears are tuned, I guide you with precision. No wasted effort, no misdirected energy. Every step bears fruit because it is faithful. Where faithfulness lives, favor follows. Not a fleeting high, but divine flow. Things align without striving. Doors open and your name is spoken where you have not yet walked. When asked how, you point not to your resume, but to your Redeemer. I do this to bring glory to myself through your obedience. You cannot deny it. Even enemies will acknowledge. When I establish, no one can undo. You have been hidden long enough. Now I bring visibility, not for fame, but for impact. Many wait to hear your sound, one forged by fire, not imitation. That is why it pierces through noise and carries weight. It costs you much, but no cost is unseen. I repay you beyond your expectation, not only in peace but power, not only rest but reach. What I build through you is greater than your name. It is kingdom-bound. Again I say, keep walking. Your yes still echoes in heaven. The path clears. Heaven watches, for the next step will shake more than you realize. These moments do not threaten. They awaken what has slept too long. I do not count down to pressure, but reveal how close you are to a breakthrough you never imagined. I do not show you what fails, but what will be birthed once you release what was never yours to carry. You held on to timelines, expectations, burdens, and the need to prove yourself to a world that never truly saw you. But I saw you, not as others defined you, but as I crafted you before time began. I remind you of that original design, the one never insecure, never needing approval, never fearing obedience. That version lives, buried but alive. Through this final tension, I bring it back. You waited for others' permission, but heaven already gave the word. You waited for signs. I now give confirmation. The wait is over. This is not rushing you ahead, but restoring you to the timeline I ordained. Delays were not always enemies. Some were mercy. But this one is different. It depends entirely on whether you release control and say yes without compromise. This moment has no room for hesitation. You circled this mountain enough. You rehearsed fears, reanalyzed closed doors, reviewed regrets, but none can stop what I am doing now. You don't need to fix the past, only follow me forward. I do not rebuild what was, I launch what never existed. This path is unfamiliar because you have never walked it before. That is why it feels uncomfortable, because it is new. I do not recycle seasons or repeat rhythms. I do something fresh. To unfold it, you must release all old definitions of progress, the striving, the comparison, the exhaustion of unmet expectations. Lay it down. Move with grace, not grind, with flow, not force, with me, not pressure. I lift the burden you carried quietly while pretending strength. I heal the places you hid behind excellence. I free you from endless cycles. Now, I ask one thing. Give me your full attention. Not fragments, but focus. What I reveal will not come through chaos, but clarity. Clarity begins in surrender. Let me still your racing mind. Let me silence expectations that were never mine. Let me hold your unspoken fears. I am not overwhelmed by your fear or disappointed by your delay. I stand in this sacred space, extending my hand, not because you failed, but because I have never stopped believing in what we began. The mission remains, the calling stands, the vision is intact. It waited for this version of you, the one ready to walk without apology, speak without filters, and move without doubt. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not disqualified. You stand on the edge of all I prepared. As the next moment nears, only your answer remains. Do not pause. Do not hesitate. The room is full. Heaven watches. Destiny leans in. All creation listens, not for perfection, but for your full, final, fearless yes. Your name is spoken in heaven, not casually, but with purpose, and the full weight of destiny behind each syllable. I do not whisper about you. I declare you in the courts of the unseen. Your obedience reached a tipping point. This is divine acknowledgement. Every hidden yes, every quiet act of faithfulness, every choice of righteousness over revenge, purity over popularity, humility over noise, heaven has recorded it. Now I respond. The time to release what has been held is here. This hour is yours. The spiritual landscape shifts, and your name rises like incense before the Father, not because you shouted, but because you never stopped yielding. Even when it hurt. You were faithful in private, and now I prepare a public display, not for your glory, but for mine. I want the world to witness what I do with a life surrendered when no one watches. You are elevated, not for attention, but because the earth longs for voices formed in obedience, not ambition. You tried to talk yourself out of this. You doubted yourself for what you didn't get right, didn't finish, or failed to see. But where you felt weakest, I filled with power. I transformed your weakness into weight, built authority from insecurity. The shame that tried to hold you down is the ground where your testimony stands. The name I speak is not one shaped by mistakes, but the name I wrote before time began. Chosen, established, set. I say it loudly now, for every resistance must yield to my decree. What I declare cannot be undone. No accusation can override my seal. The enemy may remind you of your past, but I remind you of your origin. You did not start in pain. You began in purpose. You were made not to retreat, but to take ground. Lift your head. This is not a time for false humility, but for holy confidence. Your name is not elevated for show, but for assignment. That assignment carries territory and people. That territory carries weight. Many breakthroughs depend on your yes. Many spiritual climates will shift because of your presence. This is divine fact, not exaggeration. You carry more than insight. You carry impact. You do not speak from intellect alone, but from encounter. I preserved your voice because now the earth is ready to hear the sound born in your fire. Others may have moved ahead, but you were not forgotten. You were hidden, until the time was right. This is that time. Speak when I say, move when I prompt. Do not look sideways. Do not measure your steps by others. You are not an echo. You are my sound. My precious one, as you return to daily life, know that this moment we shared is only the beginning of a greater story. Each time you come back here, heaven will speak new depths of hope into your spirit. So subscribe and ring the bell now that you won't miss the fresh revelation I pour out in every video's closing seconds. Share below how this word has moved you, for your testimony becomes a beacon that draws many into the very life I've called them to. And don't leave without watching our next message. There, I will unveil the hidden key to walking in unshakable victory, day by day. Return often, beloved child, for together we will uncover every treasure I have reserved just for you. Amen.